Morning, everybody. Welcome into Morning Mantra. This morning, we're going to talk about the veil or the things that are underlying the fear of success. So, I got a few topics there: vulnerability, emotional exposure, fear of responsibility, and losing your authenticity. Um, let's get into it and talk about it. The reason I wanted to make this video is because obviously, I'm not your typical young buck out there trying to do videos, and I'm an older guy, and I'm trying to step into a world that is so unfamiliar to me. And so some of these things they hit home with me, and so I thought maybe if I shared some of my experience with it so far, that there may be a relation that maybe you're also doing something that kind of just scares the hell out of you, right? Um, so what is it that the hidden layers of success, the things that are hiding behind the veil that kind of keep us from moving forward? For me personally, I know it's the first thing is, since I was always kind of geared towards this financial, is can I afford it? And then, of course, that led to the snowball effect of, well, you don't have this and you don't have that. So I kind of got to the point where I stopped doing that. Excuse me. Uh, and the reason is because I know my brain is very active like that, and I'm geared towards, I got to have a plan. So then I started to journal and say, okay, if I had it to do, the imaginary, if I had that and if it was right there, what would I do? And then I found myself asking way more questions than I had answers for. And I wasn't even sure if I was addressing the real issues. So I had to sit down, and so I kind of listed these four things as some topics that maybe we could share that would be, maybe you might resonate with that. Um, One of them was like fear of isolation, and you might think, how does that make you feel isolated? But sometimes it can make you feel like maybe um, you might become alienated from, like, your loved ones, or your friends or something. If I get involved with this, will they still relate to me? Will I lose that relationship with them? Will things get so chaotic or whatever? So that could be something that might be holding you back. Another thing is like just the fear of responsibility itself. Can I manage all this? I mean, I maybe I don't have computer skills, or maybe, I don't. I'm not mainstream. I'm, just this guy, right? Um, and we don't really, like I said, which is more of that momentum going, and then you got to kind of stop yourself and go, hey, you're never going to be able to even get your shoes on if you continue to go down this road. So this was like a phase after phase of doing this to where I finally just put my foot in the water. I was tired of playing in the shallow end, and decided to go ahead and go get in the deep end with the big fish, right? To start doing the videos and stuff. And while, I know I lack a lot of there's a lot of lack, I'm sure. But I know I feel like I'm getting better at it. So it was more of I feel like you've got to just actually jump in and dive in and get your feet wet before you can even gain the confidence. And so I was kind of talking to my wife about this. I was an electrician for years, and I knew what I was doing when I was on the job. I showed up, and you know, I I was able to manage the job and help people around the job, and customers and everything else, the way I needed to, because I knew what I was doing. I had apprenticed under it, so I was kind of like that helped me to at least say, okay, there's this a stage of comfortableness that you eventually are going to have to, challenge yourself to get through, and that will get better. And there's some confidence building things there, right? Excuse me. And another thing that might be like, a fear of kind of like losing control. I did a video earlier this week, and I talked a little bit about, that groundedness feeling. When you're in a place that's unfamiliar, it's hard to stay grounded. And when that happens, it can feel scary. You know, it gives you the butterflies, or in this case, you know, wasps or bees. But but it's the not knowing part, and letting that fear that overcomes you. So um, it kind of tends to make you feel like you've lost control. You know, and another thing is that um, it may threaten like who we are right now as a person. Like you know, will I lose my authenticity? Will I still be able to convey? And this was for me personally, just because of the videos. But will I still be able to convey to people what I want to say, or do I have to change and become somebody else so I fit mainstream, so that you know my videos become clickbait or whatever, you know? And the truth is I feel like, energetically speaking, if we entertain the idea that we're in competition, then that's exactly what we'll be, and we'll have to compete. But I don't believe energy is that way, you know. Um, this kind of energy that I'm talking about, it demands emotional exposure, you know, and doing the thing that scares you, whether you're, you know, launching a broadcast, or you know, if you're taking classes to go better yourself for a future job, or you know, some training, or you know, even down to the decision of buying that new car. You know, all of these things, they require a sense of vulnerability, and that can feel really terrifying. So um, in some cases there might be a, for instance, where even just the initial thought of starting something can put you in a state of you know, fright, that um, it could even be drawn into like ancestral uh, you know, things from your past, from your family, things that, you know, I came from a lack mentality, or in my case, it was, you know, I grew up, you know, not having a lot, or, you know, we had the basic necessities and everything. And I realize now, I mean, my parents did the best that they could. I'm not blaming anybody. I wouldn't want to do that. But, um, you know, so I did kind of have that minimalistic lack mentality. And I'm still okay with that because I really don't require a lot. I prefer happiness and friendship and sharing more than, you know, than wealth. That's never been really my forte. But not to say that I would not, um, you know, appreciate not having to worry about finances. I mean, you don't hear a lot of people complain about having too much money. So, but anyway, so these are just some of the things that um, I thought maybe you might relate to. And so what can I say that would make this better? And really, it's practicing that. Once you have the idea of what you want to do, whatever your decision is, step away from your logical mind temporarily. And if you will allow those thoughts to, you know, if you'll allow those thoughts to just take on the conversation without really wearing the emotional binding to it, I think you can walk away with an understanding, a little bit better understanding, and go, okay, these are maybe are some of the things that I'm fearing. And then you kind of start to get a little bit more of a picture that you can work with. Because I know at first I just talked myself out of it, you know, and but it kept reoccurring and reoccurring, and I'm like, you know, I can't avoid this anymore. So just jumping in and understanding that the confidence comes with experience, and we all know this. So getting past that fear, so letting down your vulnerability, emotional vulnerability, and just realizing that there are no mistakes. There's just only a lot of ways that something didn't work the way that you thought it would, but you never walk away without learning something from it. So I guess I just said all that to say I wished I had like this plan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but everybody's situation is different. And I think the biggest takeaway from this would just be realizing that you will you will more than likely continue to talk yourself out of something, that a desire or a passion or something like that, until you just put your feet in. And I don't know, that's like, well, what a generic answer, right? But I don't think that anybody else in this world's going to give you any better of an answer. I mean, because it really requires, in the end, you stepping forward and just doing it and then seeing what happens. You know, kind of allow yourself to, make a mistake. Allow yourself to laugh at yourself. Be kind to yourself and gentle, and realize that you don't know what the hell you're doing, and the only way to really learn is to just get in there and do it. So the mantra of today is step scared, step bold. Your fear is the very proof that you're alive, and don't let the fear be the last vote on your destiny. So just cross anyway, right? Just cross anyway. Just do it. Um, anyway, I hope you chimed with this. If you did, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments you'd like to leave, that'd be great. I'm learning, and I hope to learn with you guys. So, um, like, subscribe, let me know. Anyway, I hope to see you on the next one. All right. Bye.